Well, he's not here, so.
Well, that's likely my fault that he's not here. That we were arranging it, Dr. Thompson and I don't know if I never got word to him or what. So Rick's very good at his calendar. So he sends his regrets when I call him on the phone. He would have run right over here, but he's got also has practice scheduled. So it was hard. And I said, well, we'll try to get you another time. So he offers his apologies, first of all, and he's never ever missed a speaking appointment that I know of. So I know the air wasn't on his desk. So just a little bit about women's basketball. Last year, women's basketball was 28-5 and went into the NCAA tournament ranked 24th in the country. And I think we're a little bit better this year. We lost a couple really good players, but he's been able to bring in some and develop some that were deeper and bigger and all those kind of things. When we get into the NCAA tournament, typically we get a little bit outmatched inside, and that's where our struggles begin. And so one of the women that's returning, Nasha from Russia, she's really put on some additional strength in the off season, and she might be our best player, is what he's saying. And she's the 6'7" kid from Russia, and she's really improved. And she was a good player last year, and I would say women's basketball anticipates that she'll be a great player this year. So that's one to keep an eye on. And then there's a 6'5" girl that's new this year. She's more bulky than Nasha is, so we've got a little more girth in the paint, and they'll have a hard time pushing her around. And she's got great hands and great feet, so she can catch the ball, she can rebound, she can do all the things inside that you'd really want. So I think that he's toying a lot, and you've seen it in practice where he's playing them both together quite a bit. And so I think that's going to be a really good combination inside. And then you look at kind of some of the leaders of the team, as Courtney Whitson is the undisputed leader of the team. And those of you that have followed women's basketball, she's been a mainstay since her freshman year. And she's a better person than she is a basketball player. She's a great basketball player. She's from East Tennessee and wants to get into coaching and teaching and that kind of thing. And she'll be great. She'll be great at whatever she does. If you put stock on a kid, you know, I'd invest in her in a skinny minute. She's just got all the tools, everything you need. But from a leadership point of view and what she does on the basketball team is she'll do all the jobs that need to be done. So if you need a little bit of a 3-point shooting, she'll do it. If you need somebody to go in and rebound, she'll do it. If you need somebody to guard the best player on the other team, she'll do it. I mean, she's just one of those. She's kind of a Swiss Army knife, but she's really good at all those tasks. And then she gets a little bit overshadowed because she does sacrifice her game for some of the others on the team that maybe are more skilled in one particular area, but there's nobody more skilled in all the areas than Courtney. Yeah, then another player coming back that had a big year last year was Jalen Gregory. And Jalen is going to be a junior this year. She's got the same sort of leadership qualities as Courtney, and Jalen is the best outside shooter on our team. And really feel like with the two big hits inside, that's going to free her up a lot more for 3-point looks. And she's going to be able to really drill it. And she's also developed her game where she can put it on the floor and drive to the basket. So at the end of last year, she was a really good player for us, and she'll be better even this year. And then our point guard is Savannah Wheeler, who was a transfer last year from Marshall. And she's preseason conference player of the year. So she has that sort of ability out of the backcourt to put the ball on the floor and direct the team and do all those kind of things that point guards should do. So we are, and then there's two other kids, one a transfer from Florida International, and another that played a little bit last year that will take kind of Alex Whittington's place. He played over at Riverdale, and these two are probably more athletic than Alex was, but they got to grow into Alex's role a little bit too. So they're kind of our wild cards. They give us the ability to be a little more athletic, be a little more different, and so I just think that he's going to be really, really good. You know, he's got talent. I think the guy knows how to coach. You know, I mean, we'll be better in March than we are in September and October, and that's always a sign of a good coach. I mean, I've been around a lot of coaches in my career, and he's one of the very best coaches I've ever been around in any sport. And he's got a real way of pushing them and getting the potential out of each kid. And he's able to do that. So I'm super excited about it. We've got a tremendous home schedule. If you're not going to go to the Riverdale Oakland game Friday night, our first exhibition games at Murphy Center on Friday night. We also have one, if you do go to the game, we do have one on Monday night, and those are kind of our two dress rehearsals. And then on November 6th, we've got a men's and women's doubleheader where the women will play first. They play Memphis, which will be a great game for us. And then the men play Northern Kentucky, who's made the NCAA tournament the last couple of years. So it's a really great opener for both programs. So mark that on your calendar, November 6th doubleheader. It's really good. One of the new elements you'll see when you come to our games, and I'm all excited because right now there's just scaffolding in front of them, but we've got two new video boards put in, and they're slightly bigger than the boards we had last year, and these are all digital, so there's no static panels at all on them, and they say the clarity will be better than like a television, and so it'll be high def. And those two video boards, according to Daktronics measurements, and I'm not going to necessarily try to verify this, but they say that we'll have the biggest video board space in Conference USA. And those things are going to be great. And so in a smaller arena like that with the big boards, it'll be like you're right on top of the action. So we're really excited about what a difference in the game atmosphere both those will make. So women's basketball is going to be really, really good. And he's not one to back off on predictions and pressure and those kind of things. He likes high expectations. So we were every year they poll the coaches to see who they think will win the conference, and we were the unanimous #1 pick. I mean, so every coach in the league picked us, you know, and so that doesn't bother him a bit. He kind of likes that. I'm a little surprised because not all the coaches really like Rick Insell. And so I thought one of them might vote against us just out of spite, but they all voted that. So that's kind of how dominant he thinks that other people think we will be. So to that end, he really developed, we've got a non-conference schedule that if we don't win our tournament, we'll still have enough wins and enough ratings to get an at-large bid. And so the November and December are just critical months for us to really do well. So we go to play a tournament in the Bahamas and Michigan, and a couple other teams of that note will be in that tournament. So he's got a schedule that's really loaded. We go to Houston, we play Memphis, we play Tennessee, which I want to emphasize. We play Tennessee in Huntsville on December the 6th. And that's our game. We signed a 4-year contract with Tennessee. We play one game in Huntsville, then we go to Knoxville, then they come here to Murfreesboro, then we go back to Knoxville. And the reason we did Huntsville is that's where our Conference USA tournament is. And they've got an arena downtown, so just an hour and a half down the road. And we thought it was really important for us to play a game in there. And so we were able to get Tennessee to come and play a big game with some pressure in December to make us better in March, because you still want to win those 3 games. Basketball is really a strange sport that if you win 3 games in March, you're okay and you're going to be in the NCAA tournament. And so that's what you whole build for. And so come down there. It's a Wednesday night, December 6th. It's a great arena. It's easy to get to. It's going to be a fantastic game. And we're excited about that series. I think it'll be good for women's basketball in this state. So again, I apologize for Rick. It's probably on this bureaucrat, so put it on me. And thanks for letting me have a few minutes to talk about women's basketball.
No,
Yes,
we
sir.
have a question.
Well, first, I'll take part of the blame.
No.
So, I apologize to the club that we just, it slipped up somehow. My question, the last time I think you spoke, you talked about a potential hotel. We live near the campus. I know right next to the tennis court, they cleared some space.
Yeah. Not to get your hopes up, that's where they're gonna put the construction supplies for the new building that's building in the end zone. But that is one of the areas that they're looking at. There's really the 2 spaces that they're looking at for the hotel, and it's out on bid, but the preferred space is in that area that you described, which is right on our campus and kind of right there. And the issue with that is that just the stormwater and the expense of it. So until they really get into it and know what to do with the stormwater and how much it'll cost, we won't know there. And then the other site is just right across the street at the Woodfins lot, where the old Woodfins is. So the hotel will be there in probably another year. So we're excited about that. The tennis project, we're supposed to cut the ribbon on it now in early January, they're telling us. So it'll be ready for the spring season.
I want to ask one more question that I'd rather ask you than either of the coaches. Because you're talking about some players that transfer, and then you said something about transition. So I want to ask the other trans question. What kind of are y'all facing the transgender challenges at MTSU?
You know, it's kind of interesting that, sure, I mean, all those social issues we face. So my daughter was a swimmer, and well, both my daughters, and they were pretty good swimmers. They both swam in high and college, and so they're accomplished, and they swam against and with, they were on the same kind of club team as Riley Gaines. And I think Riley's got some notoriety now because of her stance that she was a swimmer, and she's from the Lebanon area, and she was the #1 female swimmer in the country, and she got beat by a transgender athlete in the NCAA, so she finished second. And there was a lot of feeling in my household that wasn't right, that you can support transgender rights and gay rights and those kind of things, but there are physical undeniable damages or advantages that person had in that particular sport. So I think that's an issue that's being wrestled with worldwide. People like Martina Navratilova has said that maybe there ought to be enough, like an open division, so anybody can compete in that. But I just think that for women athletes should compete against women, and what we can do to help that along needs to happen. So we have state laws in our state that are pretty pronounced. The NCAA's got some policies that run counter to the state laws, and so everybody's trying to get that, narrowing those gaps. And I think the NCAA is really trying to go more by Olympic standards, they got honestly with the swimmer with, I think her name's Claire Thomas, but they got caught a little bit behind the curveball on that. And I think that was a leadership issue as much with the NCAA that they got so far behind on that issue. It shouldn't ever happen. You know, and a Riley Gaines as a person that spends a lot of time watching my girls swim and how hard they work, you know, for her to be at that kind of national level and to not have a fair opportunity at it was really kind of heartbreaking. So I support people and what they try to do and those kind of things, but I just think there's some lines that need to be drawn on this stuff. So that's, hope that answered your question.
Any other questions?
Thanks for that sticky thicket. I came here just to eat lunch and hear a speaker. Now I'm talking about some inflammatory being recorded on transgender issues. So thank you, Joy. Thank you so much. Next time I'll make sure Rick Insel gets that. Wow. I didn't know I'd be punished like that. So thanks.
Mine is easy.
Oh. Ooh.
No, mine is easy. I want to know, is there been an update on, just the welfare of Dorsar, and there was another girl, I think,
Yeah.
from here.
Ksenia, yeah.
How they are as far as safety?
Yeah, and it's thanks for asking that, which we had a women's basketball player from Israel that finished her eligibility a year ago, and so she's playing pro ball in Israel. She did her military commitment immediately afterwards, played pro ball, and then last year one of our Ksenia, who's from Belarus, was playing on the same team with Dorsar in Israel. So Ksenia got out, she's back in Belarus. So she was able to get out. Dora's still there. Her brother's been drafted and kind of on the front lines. She's waiting to see kind of what her status is as well. But right now, everybody's safe. And we also have, there's at MTSU, there's one kid from Israel that's on our campus, and she happens to be on our volleyball team. And so she's really torn up about what's going on over there. She's had some friends and family that have been taken hostage, some extended family. So she's going through all that. So all the support that we can give, and and your thoughts and prayers for her. I mean, it's a really, it's tough, and I don't know if it's easier to be there like Doors right there, and I could make an argument that that's worse than be way over here, but sometimes not knowing what's happening. We've asked her about playing volleyball, and she still wants to play, and that's her 2 hours or whatever when she's at practice. She's not glued to CNN and that kind of thing, trying to keep up with what's going on. So it's a real issue on our campus and in our department. So thanks for asking. Sure.
You might not agree, but I believe that referees sometimes make questionable calls. I noticed throughout life that the televised broadcast will show those calls more clearly than the video boards will. Is there an NCAA rule that says you can't show calls on the?
Man, you must have been in my staff meeting today. Because that's exactly what I said, that there is an NCAA rule in basketball that you can show it like once, and then that's it. And I'm like, these referees make quite a bit of money, and 9 times out of 10, the video board proves them right, and so with our new video boards, we're talking about how do we utilize those. And so that's one of the things. It's like, I want to see that block charge. I want to see that and replayed a couple times from a couple different angles. So my thing is, like, our fans at Murphy Center should not have less of a viewing experience than the fan at home that's watching it on television. And the rules need to catch up, so again, I'm being recorded, but I told our staff that, like, let's go ahead and do that, and let's get a letter or two that tell us to stop, but I just believe that the fan there deserves to see what the play really was. Football, it's weird, football doesn't have that restriction. Now, and I also told our staff, to be fair, like, if the call goes against us and it's somewhat controversial, let's don't keep replaying it after the call is made. You know, once the referee makes, if he comes out and says whatever, foul, and let's not keep replaying it, you know, every time out, you know, just to prove him wrong. So we don't want to show him up, but they get paid and they do a good job for the most part. And they I think basketball is the hardest sport to officiate. I mean, you got these big people playing on a postage stamp anymore, and there's just not enough space for them, and it's really hard. Any other questions? Yeah.
I'll say really quick about the referee is that over the last couple of years, I've been refereeing basketball and like football, and I make mistakes.
Yeah.
And one thing I found out is that I tell the team, I will make less than you will today.
There's truth to that, and that's really true. And I like that human element. One of the debates we're having now is in Conference USA is to go to replay in softball and baseball. And it's like, for heaven's sakes, and it's going to cost us a lot of money. Let's just live and die by the officials' calls. You know, I'd rather spend that money somewhere else than on that, and slow the game down and all those kind of things. And in championship tournaments and those kind of things, I'm all for it. Let's get the call right. But on a Tuesday night, if we're playing Austin P and there's a close play at second base, so what? Let's just live with it and go on. You know, and we've lost that perspective. And like I said, those replays usually show that those refs are pretty good at what they do. Not always, but pretty good. That I put that on tape instead of the. All right, thank you all. Sorry about Rick. Yeah.
That amazing audible. If there is nothing else, guys, we are adjourned.